What's up, everybody? If anybody's there yet. If not, that's for the people on the video. Anybody out there yet? You little crooked camera. Oh. It's a little better. Hope you all out there had a great week. Today should be a fun class, or at least an interesting one. As we go through Dharana Darshan, chapter, 6, right? The obstacles to Dharana, which are plenty. And I've experienced most of them. So I can tell you what to watch out for sure. I can tell you what not to do. Probably, maybe a little bit better than what I can tell you what to do. Got about 3 more minutes. We'll probably wait till about 5 after to go. So you're welcome to go ahead and jump ahead to there if you're on the video and you get to this before I edit it. Which, you know, that seems to be really weird. It seems to be there's some kind of time limit on that. Like the last few, I've gone back to edit them and it tells me that I can no longer do that, or just the button's not there to do that. So if you get stuck with these long intros while we're waiting for people to get here, and people are just yakking about general things, I apologize for that, and hopefully we'll find a way around that soon. The chapter today is not a long one either. It's only about 5 pages. But these are 5 solid pages. Knowing everything that's being said there is really helpful. And if you take it seriously, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. I mean, I'm joking around, but at the same time, you could avoid every hurdle that I hit in the first 10 to 12 years of my practice. So that's definitely worth something. I would have given a lot for this presentation about 30 years ago. A whole lot. I didn't realize how bad I needed this presentation that I'm about to give. But that's okay, right? That's why the universe put me through it, so you don't have to go through it. I don't mind that. That's a good thing, right? Just be real careful. Be real careful on your path to self-realization. Sometimes pits can cost you a year, 2 years, a stumble and fall, you know? So, just take it slow. Don't be in a rush. You know, be steady. But don't be in a rush. Being steady is going to pay off a gazillion times more than rushing ever will. Early on in my practice, I rushed a lot. And I had some really wild experiences that, you probably don't want to have. So just find a nice pace that's comfortable for you, that works with your life, and just keep riding it. If it starts making big waves in your life, really take a look at what you're doing. Take a look at what it is that's changing or what you're losing, and say, is this something that should be lost out of my life? Is this something that, am I causing more problems than I'm fixing in my life? And I'm not saying that won't happen, because sometimes there are things in our life that we don't need to be there and we don't even realize it. But more often than not, that's not what it is, and it's just us starting to allow our lives to deteriorate in ways that they shouldn't, because we're focusing too much on things that don't need that much focus yet. So just be careful of that one. Got about 4 more minutes, and we'll see where we're at. There goes Nick Jimenez. Hello, Nick Doreen. How you doing, bud? Now, I think I finally figured out that chat thing, so don't say anything horrible about me or anyone else. So it's because the chat will be immortalized on the YouTubes forever. So keep it positive. I'm just kidding. No one here is ever negative. Not that I've seen yet. We'll go in about 4 more minutes. Sounds good. So I did a thing. There was a option on OBS that basically says if your interaction with your users is closer to real time, then knock this thing down to here, So it commits a little less to video and audio, supposedly. And that should make sure that there's some balance there. So hopefully if I'm pulling that back, we'll make enough room for Dash's craziness downstairs. Hello, Desert Gma. How are you doing? How's it sounding over there? Are we sounding good in California? Or are we looking Minnesota? Texas Sub Style. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, brother. Or good to almost see you. Good to see your letters of your name on a chat page. Good, yay. Sounding good out there to you, Ryan? Nick, everything sound clear? Nick, you said it sounds good. Yay. For those who don't know, in the video, we had some serious problems last week. I should probably take that video down. It's so bad. It's barely understandable. The audio is so up and down. We just got back from a swim. Sounds great. Good. Excellent. Woohoo. Super swim. Man, I want to go swimming. I'm so ready for the summertime to come back. Me and Dash were just talking about that. We are so ready. That's cool. Good deal. So I can see how many people are here. I realized that I could put on my main computer over there. There's a thing from YouTube that I can have running. That shows me how many people are here. Shows me how late it is that you guys are seeing what I'm doing. See, I just scratched my chin to you guys about 5 seconds ago. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're on a 6-second delay, guys. So whatever you gotta say, make sure you give it at least 6 seconds to get over here. Hello. Yeah, I love me some Megamind. That was one of my favorite cartoons. We always get talk about cartoons in this channel. It's really funny. And I love it. Hello. What else did he used to say? Revenge. Megamind was one of my favorites. That was an underrated one. Alright, 1 more minute and we roll. 6:05 is when it happens. You guys ready? It's like boot camp meditation today. No, it's not. Today's not hard. So we got like 5 of you here. Before we'll wait a couple more seconds for other people to get here. But I just wanted to ask you, what do you guys think about the way this has been set up so far? Do you like it? Do you find it beneficial? I just keep thinking about the format, and sometimes I think, well, if I'm going to do a reading, maybe I shouldn't do a reading live. Maybe I should record that for you so I know what it comes out like. And it doesn't mean that I would leave out all the little things that I tell you that, you know, I've come across over the years. But it's just that it wouldn't be live. I don't know if that takes anything away because you can't ask me questions. And maybe it just doesn't seem that helpful yet because you guys aren't steeped in it enough yet to have a lot of questions. And there's not a whole lot of people here yet either, so... And then the meditation, I'm trying to basically set up the idea of what the real expectation is. Like if you really want to progress in what we're doing here. I try to keep that a little bit separate from the things that we're doing. The techniques that I show you. And I just don't know how beneficial that is. So I just want to make sure if everyone feels like what I'm doing here is helpful, because I could easily come on once a week on Sunday and just answer everybody's questions and keep all my technique and everything, all my technique and readings on videos where I can see what they look like ahead of time. It really is all a matter of what this interactivity is worth to you guys and how much of it you think there should be in the whole process, right? But just one thing I want to be clear about is that if you're really trying to do this thing, you know, anything you do is good, right? I always say this, anything that you can do, that you can put into this is good, because you're bringing yourself closer to calmness and gaining a little distance in your mind between your actions, right? And your actual self bringing forth what it is you want to bring forth, right? The more we do this work, the less we're behaving off of our programming, and the more we're behaving off of our true self, right? So that's why any amount of this is good. But to get the super benefits, it's really, you're looking for a daily thing. You're looking for a daily practice. Once is good, 2 times a day is great. You know, if you can't do that though, that's okay. That's, you know, the old saying, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, plays into that really big time. You know, just the good is way better than the nothing. So don't worry about the perfect. You know, a lot of time the perfect leads off to obsession, and people loop out and wind up stopping, quitting after their first big experience that blows their mind because they're not ready for it, you know. So there's some things to think about. But let me know if you have opinions. I want to hear them, because I'm making this up as I go along, you know. You like the format. Good. Good. Awesome. Yay. Yeah, it took some time to figure out how to meld the new iPhone and its audio with this whole situation. At first I just had the video going, or I just had the audio going because the video wasn't working right, but now it should be fine. Alright, it's 6:08, so we're going to go ahead and kick it off as soon as everybody's here. Welcome everybody. We're going to do our next study of Dharana Darshan by the good Swami Niranjanananda. And this week we are up to chapter 6. The one thing I want to throw in before we get any farther is next week is chapter 7, and it's a whopper. And it's full of terminology that is going to take us time to get through. So I think I'm going to break that one up into 2 weeks so we don't die here. And yeah, I don't want to put all you guys to sleep before we do anything, and I want to let you get back to your Sunday. I'm not looking to take up that much of your time. So I'm going to split that up into 2 weeks, and then more importantly, the next week after that is this section where the practice starts, yogic and tantric dharana, and then we go into kayastaryam, right? And this is where the rubber hits the road. So if you want to keep up and you really want to do all these practices the way they're talking about them, really try to start working towards that, being able to sit for a half an hour. And I know it probably sounds crazy to many of you, but just trust me, it's not anywhere near as bad as you think it is. You know, it really hit me. I went to a teacher, Silver Ra, down here in a Denton area by the college, and his whole thing, I had heard about what a great teacher he was, and I never got out there. When I finally got out there, he was like, Everybody sits here still for half an hour. If you can't do it, you can't be here. And I was like, holy crap, for real? And I had already been sitting for a few years, and I just hadn't really thought about how much I was moving or how much other stuff was going on. I just didn't care. I was trying to do another thing. But I realized there that first day that I could sit for a half an hour straight, and it wasn't the biggest deal in the world. And so then I started enforcing that with myself as I was working more and more. I was just trying to do it every single time I sat down. Now, I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you need to just be there, right? Work up to it, just a little bit at a time. And if it's too much, I get that too. This isn't, everybody's not ready to spend this level of commitment. But it's really not the level of commitment that you think it is what I'm trying to say. A half hour is not a big deal. And once you get used to it, it whips by like nothing. You'll think that 5 hours is like 7 minutes. Sometimes I look at that clock and I'm like, geez, sometimes the alarm goes off and I'm like, man, I don't even feel like, shoot, I've been here for 5 minutes. So those are just some things to think about before as we get there, right? Maybe just start adding like 5 minutes a week. I don't know where you guys are at or if you're doing it every day, but just so we know, so it's clear, the optimal student right now, to me, would be doing a half an hour twice a day. And yes, I know that's a lot, and I'm not going to tell you it's not, and I'm not going to tell you it's easy, okay? So just, if you want to do the best you can, shoot for that, or get as close as you can. I'll take any of that as well. Even if you're doing 10 minutes a day, you're doing great. You're doing so much more than so many people in the world to try to get closer to your real self, right? And to try to understand what you are. And that's enough of my preaching. I will wet my whistle and let's get on with this. Hey, one other question. Let me know if any of you guys want me to reread chapter 5. I know, number one, not everybody has this book. And, for completeness sake, that thing that came out last week, I don't think that really counts. It doesn't really count as a reading. So if you want, I'll just do a normal video of me doing a reading. I didn't want to do it here live with you guys again. I thought that was kind of a silly idea. Like, hey, let's do this again because nobody showed up last week and, the video came out crap. I was like, eh. So if you want, I'll just reread last week's video, just in a normal video, and I'll add in all the little things that I added to try to make it easy and understandable with, replacing all the Sanskrit craziness. Okay? All right, guys. Here we go. Chapter 6, Obstacles in Dharana. The practices of Dharana are designed specifically to purify the nadis and chakras. Nadis are just the smaller, subtler energy channels in your body that are not as big as the chakras, right? You have a ton in your hands. You have them running all throughout your body. There's thousands. To purify the nadis and the chakras of the psychic body through techniques of concentration and visualization. When you concentrate, the faculties of mind are made one-pointed. We've talked about that a bunch, right? That's Dharana. As there are fewer mental distractions, your psychic, astral, and pranic bodies come into harmony and alignment with each other. When this alignment takes place, you're able to cross over the threshold from outer to inner experiences. As soon as you become steady in Dharana, you cross over this threshold, and at this point many obstacles may arise to block your inner progress. These include visions. You're probably already seeing some stuff when we're doing meditations, right? Or when you're on your own. Sometimes we wind up making a left turn into some kind of dream and realizing, what the heck, man, I just started dreaming while I was sitting there. It happens all the time. You've got to learn to just realize it's happening and put it aside. Awakened Kundalini. Now this is a packed story right here, but I know some of the people who are closer to me out there know I've been through this. I've been through a full Kundalini awakening, and it is no joke. To try to sit down and do your inner work while you're going through that is not easy. You need somebody around who's been through it. So if you wind up feeling any crazy energetic activity in your spine or in your head, that originates down at your lowest chakra, and things are getting a little weird in your life, please talk to me. Okay, it's not as big a deal as it may seem like, and we'll get you through it, just in case. The likeliness of this happening anytime soon is not very, but I don't know what your inner state is right now, okay? There's always that chance, and there's always a chance that thing is just waiting to blow, and all it's going to take for you to do is a little inner work to make that happen. But it's loaded with gifts, right? If you know how to navigate it properly, the Kundalini process is a beautiful thing that will help you rewrite your operating system and turn it into something fantastic. And that's the truth of it. And don't listen to what people say on the internet about Kundalini. There's so much BS out there that just don't even. If you want things to study and some people that I know are telling the truth, I can point you to that, okay? All right. Sensuality, right? This is another big one. This comes up a ton when you're sitting a ton and you start having energy flow out your body. Feeling sensuous, to put it nicely, is something that can happen. It can start coming up so much that it's a distraction. I've been there, and it's just not a party. You've just got to learn to not let it be a big deal. And the sooner you just allow it and let it pass through, the sooner it will not surface and mess with your practice anymore. And that's the truth of it. Illness. That's a different thing. I could talk for a few weeks about that one, as many of you know, but we're not going to do that. You get it. Disillusionment and oversensitivity, right? Disillusionment. Just you've been doing the practice for a while and you want something to happen that's not happening, right? Don't think that way. Do not think that way. Every time you sit down to do this work, you are doing work. It is getting done, regardless of what you think about it. The changes are subtle. Most of the changes are subtle, and they come on day by day by day. And you'll look back in 3 years and go, holy crow, I'm a different person. But there'll be a few days that really blow your mind of, oh my God, I realized this, and things will happen. But just sit back and allow them to happen when they happen, and that's it. And be prepared for it. Don't allow non-happenings to get you disillusioned. Just stick with the practice and watch what happens over time. A great way to not have disillusionment is just keep a little log for yourself. Just write every day what you feel like, and you read that back in a year and you'll realize how much you've grown. You really will. And oversensitivity, this one you'll see all the time. It's just everything starts to take on a real edgy quality, whether it's music or just people's voices, or for me it was a lot of auditory stuff that was really just seemed sharp and loud, and it was as my sensitivity was forming up, and all that will diminish over time too if you start seeing that. Okay, once again, if any of these things happen to you and you want to talk about it, feel free to contact me in any way you can. Okay, these are all the obstacles which arise from within. There are also several obstacles which may arise from without. These include excessive socializing, too many practices, irregularity in lifestyle and practice, and imbalanced diet. And those are all just common lifetime problems, right? That interfere with anything that we're trying to do if we get too crazy with it. So that's all just real general good advice, right? Keep your life balanced. Visions are the first obstacle which one may face on the path of Dharana. Here you may see beautiful demigoddesses or apsaras from the other world coming to tempt you away from the practice. Visions may also appear in the form of snakes, lions, tigers, demons, and vampires to frighten you. Only if you're able to remain calm and unaffected in such situations will your practice proceed unimpeded. That's a big deal, right? The more deeply seated and rooted you are into the earth, the less all these things are going to bother you, right? So when you start out that practice and you start out with the Muladhara chakra, feel that thing. Feel the roots digging into the earth, right? Always be calm and cool through this practice. There are many descriptions of different mystics, saints, and prophets who experienced such visions at the time of intensive sadhana. Sadhana is just spiritual practice. When Christ was living in the desert for 40 days, many such visions came to him. Similarly, Lord Buddha had many visions while sitting under the Bodhi tree before his enlightenment. And pretty much any other spiritual master that you'll read about has been through some crazy stuff at some point right before they opened up fully. Kundalini awakening is the next difficulty which arises. In fact, you cannot enter into the stage of Dharana without some degree of Kundalini awakening. Dharana is usually practiced on the different chakras, so this also indicates some degree of awakening, which does not happen unless Kundalini moves upward into the passage of Sushumna. Remember, the Sushumna is the channel in the middle, right? We've got the two nadis winding around it. The Sushumna is the one in the middle, and that's where we want the energy to flow. As the Kundalini energy begins to penetrate the chakras, Dharana begins. If the Kundalini experiences become intense during the practice of Dharana, you will require the guidance of an experienced guru and a conducive environment in order to continue the sadhana. Sensuality is another obstacle which one may face on the path of Dharana. When Dharana occurs, strong sensual feelings develop spontaneously in the lower centers. This can be tolerated once in a while, but during Dharana it may happen frequently. As the practice of Dharana progresses and the mind becomes controlled, the pranas and chakras are purified. This purification leads to increased production of the sexual fluid. Therefore, sensuality is increased. When sensuality arises during the practice of Dharana, you will again need the guidance of an experienced guru in order to clear your path. Encountering illness is another difficulty which may arise. Often in the lower stages, physical impurities create obstructions. Normally, in the extroverted state of active life, Rajoguna is predominant. Through the practice of dharana, however, the process of physical purification takes place very quickly. As a result, the unhealthy elements in the body are generated in order to be eliminated as quickly as possible. These may assume the form of an illness that was previously lying dormant. When illness manifests in the body in this way, it is a result of the process of purification. Therefore, you need not worry. The illness will automatically subside through the meditation process itself. Therefore, the dharana practice should not be abandoned at such times, but continued. Under such circumstances, however, medication should be avoided as it interferes with the purification process. You should also abstain from a rich, heavy diet. Take a simple, light diet, or take only milk and fruit. Now, this advice is really for, you got to remember, these things come from what was a seminar in India, and they're talking, it's one of the super spiritual heavies talking to a bunch of other spiritual heavies. This is their life at this point. This is like doctorate level stuff that they're learning here. And so they're all deep and intense in practice. So a lot of this stuff, we're all just beginning to toe the water with all this stuff, right? So if you're sick and it's bad, go to the doctor. Don't just blame our practice and ignore it, okay? I know none of you will probably do that, but just in case, just, get it checked out. Make sure you're okay. And don't take any medication you don't need, right? Don't just, we all know that at this point, right? So just a little perspective there. Disillusionment with the practice is yet another obstacle. At this stage, it is difficult to assess the degree of your progress correctly. Out of enthusiasm, you may tend to overrate your attainment, thinking that dharana can be mastered quickly. However, as you advance, you will become disillusioned to find that dharana is not so easy to master. It takes time to steady the mind and develop concentration, inner visualization, and control over the image. When the practice does not go well, you may become uneasy about your progress and begin to doubt whether any benefits have been gained. On the other hand, when some success is attained, you may feel overjoyed, thinking that you are on the threshold of samadhi. Samadhi is one of the grander goals of this whole thing. I think we've been through that. These kinds of ups and downs will be there at times during the practice. Such illusions about the practice should neither depress nor elate you. And that's really, really important. It is only by persevering steadily, regardless of such ups and downs, that actual progress is made. I often compare this whole thing to learning a musical instrument, right? But the hard thing is, at the end of the month, you don't have a song that you can play for people that everyone can see and clap for you and go, oh, very good. It's just going to take form in the gradual ease of your life, and how easy it is for you to navigate your life. And I'm not saying life is always going to be easy. What's going to make it easier is the way you're dealing with it, okay? We only have control over our reactions to everything, right? And when you learn to control them in a different way than just the animalistic mind doing whatever it wants to all the time, things get real different. Oversensitivity develops when you begin to develop concentration. The sound of a pin dropping may feel like a thunderbolt going through your brain. Certain smells, sounds, sights, and feelings which you would not have noticed before will repel or irritate you. These are the stages through which you will have to pass, but if you have perseverance, you will succeed. Adopting too many practices can create obstacles. There is a danger of wasting your valuable time and energy by trying one practice and then giving it up for another new one. Whatever practice you take up should be continued until you reach the end of it. Before you have completed the practice, you should not give it up and take up another. It is better to persevere with one practice until you've mastered it. If you practice a little of this and a little of that, you will never attain the meditation experience. Different and new practices may excite your imagination, but there it will end. It is like the man who dug 100 wells but never found water. Each time he would give up after digging a few feet and start digging in a new place. Therefore, stick to one practice and go deep, and then you will reach the goal. Now see, that's real easy for them to say too, because most of what they're doing is based off of some really good teacher telling them what to do. Now in that case, if you make a left turn, that's kind of your own bad. But here in America, we have 10 billion different people teaching us things online, and there's this massive cornucopia of books available that are all bad regurgitations of things that have been around forever by other people who may or may not understand it, and some of them are just completely copying the ideas straight up and have never experienced a yogic moment in their life. So it's a little harder out here in America at this particular time. Like, we're over inundated with the information, right? So figuring out what to pick and what's going to work for you is hard. But that's one of the things that we're working with here. I can tell you that these things will work for you. Like, this is the real deal. This is real meditation. So if you really want to do this thing, stick to this stuff for a while. Really try to get down with everything that they're saying in Dharana Darshan and the practices I'm giving you, because they're all no joke. Everything's been filtered. There's thousands of things that I've learned that I'm not giving you, and there's a reason for it. Okay. Excessive socializing is another obstacle to the practice of Dharana. If you wish to go deep into the practice, you'll have to minimize your social commitments. Companionship with different types of people distracts the mind. Excessive talking also distracts the mind. All types of sensory diversion, excitement, and intoxication block the pathway of Dharana. Once again, this is about balance of lifestyle, right? Keep a balance. Irregularity in lifestyle and practice is one of the biggest obstacles, and for many people the hardest to overcome, right? Irregularity in lifestyle and practice. These are two that really we do have to work on if we're going to take this seriously. In order to attain concentration, the mind and body must be balanced and steady. Irregularity creates imbalance and restlessness. It is important to create regular meal time, sleeping time, work time, recreation time, and meditation time. Once you have decided upon your schedule, do not deviate from it. A regular lifestyle and practice is the basis for spiritual progress and the development of concentration. Once again, same thing, right? The people who this is coming from do not have the lives that you and I have, right? I have 2 crazy kids and 4 crazy cats downstairs, and life can be crazy sometimes. Sometimes when I say I was going to eat, I don't get to eat. And sometimes when I was supposed to go to the gym, I don't get to go later. And these are all parts of reality for modern American life, right? So we just have to work the way we can. And that's it, right? What we can do is what we can do, and it is fine, right? Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Once again, take that to heart deeply. Imbalanced diet is another obstacle to Dharana. The digestive system is very delicate. When we enter into the deeper states of consciousness, the digestive power is often diminished. Therefore, in order to progress in Dharana, you should neither eat too much nor fast too often. A regular sattvic diet is essential. To put it simply, sattvic just means like things that are in line with treating yourself well, without getting into a whole lot of philosophy about what that is. But that's basically what it is. There are certain things that are considered to agitate the nervous system, and there are certain things that are known to lean towards a calmer nervous system, and you're trying to avoid those things and head towards these things. There are lists online of things that are considered sattvic in a diet. If you really want to look into that, and get into that deeply, there's plenty of information out there. But it's just a lot of fruits and vegetables and milk, things like that. Staying away from meat, nuts, eat nuts and seeds, things like that. Like a pretty standard vegetarian diet that's not crazy in carbs is what they're looking for. Once again, balance in lifestyle. We live in America. Let's be realistic, right? Do what you can, do the best you can, and whatever you feel is right for you. There's lots of people that have been wanted to not eat meat and have been told they had to eat meat. The Dalai Lama is one of them. He didn't want to eat meat, and they told him, look, man, you need more protein. You really should eat some chicken. And he started eating chicken. So if he can eat some chicken, you can eat some chicken. But if you can do without it, all the better. As your system becomes purified through the practice, the least irregularity will throw you out of balance. One portion more or less of food will disturb your entire system until you get perfect control. Then you will be able to eat whatever you like. Tension is also an obstacle. It must always be remembered that concentration is not a state of tension. True concentration of mind can only be achieved in a relaxed personality. A tense person cannot concentrate. Only when you have learned to maintain an easy and steady posture and to relax the body, nerves, brain, and mind can you begin to concentrate. In fact, relaxation and concentration are interrelated. You cannot relax any part of your body unless you can focus your mental attention on it. Similarly, you cannot focus the mind unless it is completely relaxed. Trying to focus a tense mind is like tightening a string which is already too tight. Instead of concentration, fragmentation or mental breakdown may be the result. Therefore, concentration must be developed gradually through a systematic meditative practice. Do not force yourself to concentrate when you are feeling tired or tense. Muscular and nervous tension have nothing to do with concentration. Success in the exercise is not to be measured by any bodily sensation or feeling whatever. Some people think that they are concentrating when they feel a tightness between and behind the eyebrows, but they are only producing headaches and other troubles for themselves. Attention without tension is what is required. Concentration must always be practiced without the slightest strain. Control of mind is not brought about by a fervent effort of any kind, but by constant, quiet, calm practice and avoidance of all agitation and excitement. These are some of the major points which you will have to observe and be aware of if you wish to take up the practice of dharana in a serious way. Of course, even if you do not wish to develop the practice to such a great extent, it will still give you untold benefits. It will calm your nerves, clear your mind, improve your temperament and health, increase your lifespan, and give you a new vision of life. And the one thing I'll add to that is that creativity abound. When I'm meditating and working hard, my creativity comes off the charts. And there is no doubt about that. So if that's something that's important to you, get excited about it and do the work. Try to do it for a week and see how much it changes what you're doing. Because you'll find that you can focus in new ways and you'll have new ideas and new thoughts about the things that you've been doing forever. And it'll just be mind-blowing and amazing. There's an incredible tool that you have available at your disposal that most of us just don't even pay attention to in our lives and don't even realize it can be cultivated. Most people in our culture think that you just got what you got and talent's this and that and that's it. Well, that is just absolutely not true. It's just not true. I've seen people grow in leaps and bounds through their own self-effort. So just realize that's a thing. That's a thing and it's real. I can promise you that. Okay? With that, does anyone have any questions? That's it for chapter 6. Next week is Yogic, Tantric, and Upanishadic Dharana. I'll wait 6 seconds to see if anyone has anything to say. And if nobody has any questions, I'm going to move on with a pranayama technique that was taught to me by a Swami of the Saraswati order. Doesn't that sound important? Many years ago, and it's a good one. Every time I show this to people, they really enjoy it, especially if they've been practicing for a while. They see it's simple, but it's a powerful one. And I'm also going to give you a Buddhist mantra today. I don't know if anybody's ever given you a mantra, but I'm going to give you a real simple one today that you may already know to go along with this. You can look this up, but it's Om Mani Padme Hum. You can write that down if you have to, or just keep sending it through the mind. Om Mani Padme Hum. All it means is jewel in the lotus. That's all it means. But we're looking for the jewel in the lotus, right? The lotus flower is the one that grows in the muck and the murk of the swamp. And it's like one of the most beautiful flowers that there is, right? So it's like we're looking for the jewel in that. This whole life and everything we deal with and the craziness that's covered our spiritual self is all the muck and the mire that we're trying to bring out that jewel in the lotus, right? That's the idea behind that. But from my perspective and everything I've seen, it doesn't matter if that mantra was saying Shmegra. If that's what a whole bunch of people got together on and agreed means a certain thing, like emotionally and energetically, and then focused on that for thousands of years, having that emotion and that feeling and that temperament and direction, that sound starts to take on a life of its own. Now, don't think this is woo. Think about what this reality might be. You often hear it termed as a shared reality, right? That we all are a little piece of consciousness that are a part of this one bigger thing. Well, just imagine if that greater mind is just gradually more and more of that greater mind, which is all our little pieces, is thinking that this one little phrase means this one thing. And the more we repeat that, and the more we attune to it, like a radio, right? We're tuning into that station of Om Mani Padme Hum, right? That thousands and thousands of Buddhists and far beyond Buddhists have tuned into that channel with the intention of enlightenment, peace, growth, self-development, right? People that have immersed their whole lives into this and have done this their whole entire life, focused on that one mantra. It's happened. That was the first mantra I ever did. I did it for 5 years before I tried another mantra, and I was shocked at how different another mantra felt. I always thought it would be just not a big deal, but it was a huge deal. But anyway, this is a really beautiful mantra. Did a lot of good things for me, and it's a beginnery one. They very often teach this in the first stages of Buddhism. So it's a really beautiful one, and I figured it would be good to work with this practice, because this practice does work with a mantra. You can do it without a mantra, but I don't recommend it. It's like, it's like playing guitar with one hand, right? You don't want to do that. Om Mani Padme Hum. You can look it up if you want. If you want me to write it out, put it out in some form for you, I can do that as well too if you're having trouble finding it, but you won't. It's everywhere. If you do want to learn it, I'd say that probably the easiest way that I learn mantras, if they're hard for you, is to just find something on Spotify or something on YouTube that's a repeat of the mantra, and then just sing along with it. A lot of those little songs that people make and everything, they're real catchy, they're fun, and then, you're not trying to feel like when you're listening to Aerosmith. You're just trying to fall into a pattern and start to feel that pattern within yourself, right? And you'll find that you'll start repeating this on your own without really thinking real hard about it. And they say that's when you're truly starting to gain the benefits of mantra. Now, this isn't a big mantra practice. I'm not trying to lean into that with you guys yet at this point, but this is the 101 class for it. So I just gave you the basics of mantra. So if you want to play with it, play with it. Do this thing. Do this for a couple weeks and see what it feels like. So let's just give it a roll. I've been yakking it up today, so I'm gonna skip through the body scan. I'm gonna leave that for you guys to do on your own, so I don't take up your whole Sunday. But get focused. Just take a quick relax, right? No body scan, but it doesn't even feel right to start doing anything without that. Find your center of balance and just, you know what? You're getting advanced enough. Just let go. Let go of the whole thing, right? I know we make a big deal out of this every week, but you got to start learning how to, you're in a bus. Just let it all go. At this point, you know what it all feels like to have every muscle just loosen up and be chilled out and be ready to meditate and be in a different state. Just make it happen like magic in one speck of time. Zoink. And now we're there, right? Do you feel it? One big breath in and out should take care of it, right? And on that out breath, just let it all go. Take a quick spin through the belly to make sure there's no tension there. All right, now the first part of this is I want you to breathe in. On your next in-breath, breathe into your lowest chakra, the Muladhara chakra, right? Breathe in there. And internally, think Om Mani. Okay? Breathe into that lowest chakra and Om Mani. Just exhale for now. We'll continue it after. One more time. Breathe in and Om Mani. Exhale. This is only a small piece of it, right? We're going to just build on it the way we've done the other ones. Breathe in the lowest center and Om Mani. Those little tiny lungs in your butt, right? Just kidding. I know anatomy a little better than that. Not too much better, but Om Mani. And now what we're going to do is after that, we're going to do Padme Hum. And we're going to exhale. And we're going to follow the path with our breath from that lowest chakra all the way up to the heart chakra. Okay? So we're going to breathe in Om Mani. And then we're going to exhale, Padme Hum, follow up. And then finish that exhale at the heart center. So during that exhale, we're going to travel. And that travel is important too. It's not just about beep boop, right? It's about starting to feel that energetic connection between all the chakras, right? Don't worry, it's not woo, I promise you. There's a connection in there, and it's working all the time. How does your whole body communicate? Well, this is the whole part of it, right? We exhale, Padme Hum. Finish the exhale, right? So we're breathing in at the lowest center, Om Mani. Exhale, Padme Hum. Follow it up, Hum. Now we're going to breathe into the heart after that, right? Om Mani, stay at the heart, Om Mani. And we're going to do the same thing this time, except we're going to exhale and head from the heart up to the Ajna, the third eye, right? 3 inches into the head, down here where that meets, inside there. Wish I could go in and point to it for you. So it's Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. And then the last sequence is what? Breathe into the third eye, Om Mani. Breathe in the whole universe. And then exhale and Padme Hum. Exit out the top of the head and do the energetic shower like we've talked about in other things. Just let it all come around you and create that shell around you, right? Give it back to the universe. Keep some of it for your own usage in your own little microcosm, right? There's a lot more description there you need to worry about. Just let it come out of your head and just do the thing, right? Let the universe take back what it needs and bring the rest of it around. Back down to start over again, right? So let's try from the beginning. Breathing in at the bottom center, Om Mani. Exhale and travel up to the heart, Padme Hum. Into the heart center, Om Mani. Exhale up to the soul center, Padme Hum, to the Ajna. Inhale in the soul center, Om Mani. And give it all out, Padme Hum. As you're passing through here, try to become aware of that top center. That's the only thing I'm going to add, right? Don't hang out there too long or expect anything, but just pass through it and feel that you're passing through it. Okay? From the bottom, Om Mani into the bottom center. Padme Hum, heading up to the heart. Om Mani into the heart. Om Mani. And then as it goes up, Padme Hum. Om Mani. Padme Hum. Bottom center. Om Mani. Exhale. Padme Hum. Into the heart. Om Mani. Exhale up. Padme Hum. Into the Ajna. Om Mani. Up. Padme Hum. One more time, I'll do it with you. Lowest center. Om Mani. Out. Padme Hum. Breathe into the heart. Om Mani. Up. Padme Hum. Into the forehead. Om Mani. Up. Padme Hum. Now let's try a few. Just try 3 of them in the quiet. Just breathe in. That thing that I was doing externally, you should be doing that internally. Stretch it out, right? Don't just say it real quick and leave a big space. Try to space that mantra out to be evenly flowing through the whole thing, right? We're trying to play this like an instrument. Om Mani Padme Hum. As your breath, you know how long you can extend your breath, right? Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani to on your own. And there you go. That's that whole practice. You could literally spend a good chunk of your life doing just that, and it would do great things for you, seriously. But what I would recommend in real life is that every day when you practice at this point, do your body scan, right? Get your body situated, comfortable, and relaxed, and then concentrate on being still. And at that point, do an active pranayama, one of the pranayamas that I've given you, or if there's something that you know that you want to do more than that, that's cool too. But this practice that we just did is a good active way to get energy moving throughout the body. Clear out the old and bring in the new, right? And then when you're done with that, one of the active pranayamas, where we're doing a lot of breathing and moving stuff around, right? Any of the ones I've taught you were fine. After that, then you want to do the focus practice, right? We've done just up at the top of the head. If you're at the point where you've picked a symbol, like we've talked about in Dharana Darshan, you're welcome to use that too. You don't have to use the top of the head. But if you don't have one yet, use the top of the head until you do have one. Okay? And that right there is a solid practice. You do that every day, 2 times in the morning and at night. You are well on your way to having a real practice that will change your life. Okay? I hope you find that helpful. If you want any more information on Om Mani Padme Hum, I will put that out there. Just ask, and there's more to be said about that if you want me to be the one to do it. And I get it, because the internet is crazy. It's the Wild West out there. So be careful with the stuff that you take in. You know, sometimes I do research for things that I'm going to put online to make sure that everything I think is right. And I find so much contradictory stuff out there that I'm just like, oh my God, just forget it. I'll just stick with the information I know, and what I know from the books that I've worked with and the teachers I've worked with, and I know what's worked for me, and forget the rest of all that craziness, because there's a lot of people just trying to sell stuff. There really are. So just be mindful of that, okay? It's not all bad. Don't get that idea, but just be mindful of what you're taking in and what you introduce into your practice. Make it be, if you're going to spend your time trying to improve yourself in a way, make sure that you're working off of dependable information, okay? And I think that's all I've got for you today, people. Anything? Any questions? Ratings? Oh, thank you for that. This book is excellent. Yes, this book is excellent. This is one of the best yoga. If I had to give people one or two, if I had to give them one, it would be a tough toss-up between this and the Yoga Sutras. And if I could give them two, it would be this, and it would be Pragyananda's Yoga Sutras, or anybody's Yoga Sutras. But I love Pragyananda's. I wish that book was more prevalent. If there was more of them, if I ever see a bunch of them, I'm just going to buy them all so that I have them available for you guys, because it has the original text the way it was, and then it has Lahiri Mahasaya. He was one of the originators of Kriya Yoga, and there's his short and pithy interpretation of it, what he thinks, and then underneath that is Pragyananda's large exposition on the whole thing, on that particular thing. And each one has it written in Sanskrit, it has it transliterated into English, and it also has all those things broken down, each part, each Sanskrit root broken down, and it's meeting right underneath it. So there is absolutely no way you're walking away from there confused. It is just one of the best things ever. So I'll see if I can dig up a link for that, but that's the one that I go through all the time, and I'm still working through that after years. I think I've been working through that for, I don't know, 5-6 years now. It's just, you can, every time through it, you've grown. You know, every time you work with it, it's a big tome to start out with, but every time, there's a lifetime of work in those two books. There really are. I mean, you could never need another yogic text if you just work with those two. Anything else, guys? There's only 4 of you left at this point. I knocked at least 3 of you to sleep. 4 of you. All right, everybody. It was a good week. I'm glad. I hope the recording came out okay. And I appreciate you taking the time to spend it with me. And I will see you next week. Go do some good work, okay? Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. May all be happy. See you next week. I'll wait another minute to see if anybody has any questions. And then the system's going down. Peace out, Nick. Good seeing you, brother. Desert Grandma. See you later. Oh, wow, look at that. Balloons. Whoa, who did that? That's cool. How did that even happen? What is happening? That was magical. Did one of you guys do that? That was sweet. I thoroughly enjoyed those balloons. That was cool. Don't take much, man. Don't take much to amuse me. Alright, guys. I think I've waited the allotted 6 seconds. Y'all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Sunday, okay? Love you bunches. Bye. See you, Tina.